This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, UCLA, fight.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show Network, with your hosts, Jake Merrifield, Bill Shirley, Jamaal Artis, and Mike Regalado, bringing you anything and everything UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
And welcome to What's Bruin, a show about anything and everything Bruin sports. I am your host, Bill Shirley.
It's the worst in the world.
That your audio.
Yeah, pretty bad week for basketball.
Not the best. Well, we got one win.
We have, yeah. We'll talk about that today. We'll talk about
It was
that.
better. Bounce back.
There you go. So, guys, welcome to the What's Bruin Show. The What's Bruin Symposium, as Jake likes to call it, part of the What's Bruin Network. It's this show and the bare minimum.
Jake just threw up his hands like, I don't know. Who knows?
Which is good, though. I enjoy listening to the bare minimum, maybe because I grew up.
There's a double episode coming out soon.
Oh, wow.
But the other shows?
Crickets.
You know.
It's okay. Listen, you can go ahead and find us on, is it X? At What's Bruin Show. Email what'sbruinshow@gmail.com. On the alt-right Substack, that's what'sbruin.substack.com.
Yes.
All right. And then, you know what? Hey, Jake put stuff on YouTube. Not himself, but photos on YouTube with the show playing.
It's called a slideshow, and yes.
Okay.
I do need to change the slideshow.
with the audio.
It's on the project list.
There you go. All right. So Jake will, at some point this year, change that slideshow.
Yes.
But either way, go
And
ahead.
then we'll have
check us out on YouTube.
slideshows.
And smash the like button, as the kids always
Please
say.
do.
Dude.
Rate, review,
What
whatever.
did I see? I saw something this week that talked that. Oh, it was the South Park, the new South Park episode.
I haven't seen it yet.
What? Wow.
Is it?
Yeah, they were talking. That's what they said the whole episode. And don't forget to smash the like button, smash the subscribe button.
That's all I do. So either
Goddamn
way,
kids and their lingo.
I love it. Look. So like I said, join us.
It goes
on-
back to like everybody has a podcast, but we've had a podcast longer, so.
Yeah.
Hey, did you hear about the whole new rules of podcasting from
No,
Apple?
please tell me.
Well, now, right now, when someone subscribes to a show, no matter if they listen to it once or listen to it 100 times, every show automatically downloads. And these big podcasters use that in terms of their metric. Hey, even if they're not, they don't know if they're not listening or not, but either way, they're downloads.
It's
These are
downloading.
downloads. Apple's stopping that. Apple's saying, you're not if you don't listen to X amount of shows,
It's great. Bill just dropped his mic.
it's pretty good. If you don't listen to a certain amount of shows, it stops the automatic download. It just stops it.
Oh,
So, yeah.
nice.
So wait, what if they listen to...
I don't know all the rules. Yeah, you have to check and see like X amount. I don't know what the X is.
Well, this
but
is not good for a show like ours.
It's not good. Well, a lot of podcasters are
Actually,
feeling
it's
like,
probably good for
No, it's
us,
terrible for a show like ours because people like tune in during football season, and then they don't.
Yeah.
Until next football
Well, that's
season.
for every
Like I don't know who's
sports-
listening to us right now. Like Jack and Nancy and
Cheers,
Seamus
y'all.
are listening to us right now. We love you guys. Crawford's out there. But I mean, if Apple's going to like turn off our subscriptions after, is it subscriptions or just automatic downloads?
I think it's
Downloads,
automatic
not
downloads.
subscriptions.
It's funny because mine doesn't automatically download.
It
like
doesn't?
I
have
it
stuff where, like-
populates into my feed, but I have to manually download it if I want to download it.
Really?
But
Mine
yeah,
doesn't.
mine.
And that's a thing too, because and I think a reason for that is because if you automatically upload, let's say you do listen to 2 or 3 and you're backed up, that'll just keep
Well, you
loading
need to
into
take
your
more fiber.
library.
Oh.
And that also takes up a lot of room. There have been a
Yeah.
few times where my phone is like, oh, your memory is exceeding, and the first thing I go to, or you can see in your memory program on there's a way to check it out. But either way, one of the biggest ones that comes out is podcast.
Yeah.
And you look, I'm like, oh wow, I haven't. These are from like 5 months ago. Delete.
Well,
and
that's
it
funny. So I
frees
wonder
up
if it is
a lot of space.
just a downloading issue.
All right, so it
but
goes,
yeah.
when Apple released its iOS 17 in September, it included
Hold
an
on,
adjustment.
Bill. I think this is deserving of breaking news if I can find it. Breaking news.
What's brewing? News.
Breaking news on a weekly basis.
News just in.
Okay, so this is it. So, it was released in September, iOS 17, and included an adjustment to how automatic downloads work on a podcast. Blah, blah, blah. The thing is, the key change is that if you subscribe to a podcast, forget about it. And forget about it, and returned after a while, you would have every unplayed podcast episode from that listening hiatus downloaded onto your phone. In the latest update, Apple switched it so that once you return to a subscribed podcast, it simply resumes and does not download back episodes.
You know, it's funny. Like, I wonder if that's a setting I just never have used on my iPhone, because mine does not automatically download shit. It just populates your like the things you're subscribed to, and then I choose whether or not to download it or not.
Yeah.
And because like my morning, I mean, you guys know my phone. I'm subscribed to like, I think probably 200 podcasts or something, but I'm only listening to 60 of them actively at one time, right? So like I'll go through in the morning and it's kind of like your email. I'm like, nope, I don't want to listen to that. Nope, I don't want to listen to that. Nope, I don't want to listen to that. And then I download the ones I do want to listen to. But that's interesting. So anyways, hopefully, as long as it doesn't like kill the people who subscribe, like if they look at their feed, our shit's still coming up, then I guess that doesn't spell doomsday for us, but gee whiz.
Yeah.
Because, you know, obviously we do this all year, or at least me and Mike do, but we are a seasonal show to a degree in that our listens spike dramatically in the fall and then trail off from there. So I guess we'll see. But Bill, great info.
Good pod.
That's good.
Good podcast talk.
There you go.
Hey.
That's inside. That's behind the curtain.
Best in the business right there, boys.
All right, so here we go, guys. Get your merch. The link is just nonsensical, and it's on the listeners'
Show
notes.
notes.
Okay, and remember to call us at 805-399.
4 WBS.
Now that's something else. If you don't call, we lose.
That's true.
This is just like the new podcast.
And this is
rules.
an off-season maintenance announcement from Bill.
So you need to go ahead and call a number. Just call it once. If each of our 5 listeners calls it once a month,
then we're good.
we're fine.
We are good.
Just call it once and leave a
Because
message.
ask me how many calls I have right now.
As Petros and Money would say, not much.
More crickets.
Zero.
Yeah.
So, guys, so that's it. Let's get on with the show with the BRO-filiated headlines with Mike.
Do we have them?
Just a few.
All right.
Just some news that will also feed into your how can I say not resurgence, your
Restating.
restating
Of my
thank you very
opinion?
much of your opinion. Not that there were questions of him going to the transferring, because he just transferred in this past year, or going to the NFL, but J. Michael Sturdivant, wide receiver for UCLA, is returning to the Bruins.
I read that. That's awesome.
Also, Keegan Jones, who put his name into the transfer portal a few weeks ago, committed to UConn, and Jim Mora.
Look at that mouse. The mouse just went by again.
Yeah, we've already caught a few of its relatives in the What's Bruin podcast studio. There's mice running around.
I'm like,
I was like, wait,
got a
there's a
trap.
mouse just went by.
Yeah.
sorry, that threw me off. Sorry.
That's all right. Let's continue.
I was like,
I'm
what?
not sure
Okay.
it's
Okay. Sorry.
Who's still coming back?
Keegan Jones.
I'm so happy I don't have to get rid of that job. Because Carl Jones is gone. He's gone. But not Keegan
Yeah.
now. Because
Yeah.
Keegan was going to UConn last time we were recording. But now he's not. That makes me happy.
Also, sorry, I'm like so mixed up. UCLA also got a transfer commitment from Georgia Tech defensive back.
Wait, can I just say,
Bill, if you,
no, wait,
if you point out an area of need,
Wait a
would it
second.
be
Mike?
that?
Defensive back KJ Wallace.
Let's go.
Mike, you know, this is funny. I just noticed something with this whole mouse in the garage.
You could go mouse in the house. It's okay.
No, listen.
It's still, the garage is technically part of the structure.
Jake and I
Mouse in the house.
are from Riverside.
We are.
We grew up with all this shit all the time. Mike's a
RIV.
city boy.
Yeah.
You just see the difference between
Mike's all freaked out.
Mike's like, what the?
Oh, I'm not freaked out. I'm just like,
Oh, he's totally
mouse.
freaked out, guys.
Dude,
Guys,
I have possums.
He's like
I have
got
possums.
literally got goosebumps on his neck right now. He's so
Jake and I
afraid.
are like,
he's so afraid of the mouse. Mike, it'll be okay, dude.
You're a city guy. It's okay.
Like he's lifted his feet up off the ground. Actually, they're like on.
I'm not scared of mice.
We may be
Thank you.
slandering Mike. Oh boy.
oh boy. Hey,
I can't do it, Mike. I've had a cough, but I can do.
it's public
Mickey
domain now.
Mouse.
Mike.
Oh, it's on.
It's on
It's
now.
on.
It is public domain.
Yeah. So that's what's happening on the
I'm the little mouse. What's going on?
Whoa, you're having way too
Don't
much
be
goddamn.
afraid of me.
I love this.
Sure,
sport.
bro. Okay.
What is happening?
Where's my rat bat?
Very good. Very good.
UCLA also hired a few coaches. Tony Washington Jr., who's been hired as defensive line coach. He was a graduate assistant at the University of Oregon last year, his alma mater. as well as the Bruins also got a quarterbacks coach in Billy Fressler, who was quarterbacks coach at Akron. Was that Akron?
Go Bruins!
Well, Akron, yes. The last 2 seasons. So they're filling out the coaching spots.
Well, that's
and
good, I guess.
it looks like they are doing well with having returning players on offense, getting some transfer players, and with everything happening with Alabama and Washington in the last week.
And Arizona.
And Arizona.
I do want to talk about that, so
I'm
let's not
wondering
get
if
too much.
I don't want to get too much into it, but hopefully
this is a good time for that coach talk. But Mike, finish your thought.
I was just going to say, with all of that happening, a lot of players are decommitting or looking elsewhere or looking to transfer. So hopefully UCLA can maybe pick out a few key additions.
There's a few more opportunities there for sure, right?
Exactly.
Especially with
those are the
Arizona.
BRO-filiated headlines. But let's use this as a jumping off point to discuss what we have just talked about. To discuss further what we've just talked about.
I don't want to give the women's basketball and the men's basketball short shrift, so we'll just do a little bit of the coaching stuff right now, because we'll say football. We'll talk more football at the end. However, right, with the coaching carousel ramping up full speed ahead, right, and 2 of those coaches were coaches that were tied to UCLA in one way or another. The 2 big moves, right? Kalen DeBoer goes from Washington to Alabama, Roll Tide, and Jed the Fish replaces him up in Washington.
And people are pissed.
Away from
the Wildcat fans are pissed.
Bear down indeed. Yeah, whatever.
Wow.
Whatever, Wildcats. Like, why are okay, number one.
Well, the
why are
biggest
they
thing-
pissed? Why are they pissed?
Well, because
Somebody tell
on
me.
I think it
I
was
don't
on
understand.
January 10 days before he accepted the position, he said he's not going anywhere.
They all say that. Why does anyone
Well, yeah.
believe that? Why does anyone believe a coach?
But he wasn't going anywhere until Washington opened up, and he's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I guess I'm going to Washington then, right? I mean,
Which at the same time, which I'm all for. That if that's what you want to do with your life, your career plans, totally fine. If that's the case, you can't get on these kids for wanting to transfer, potentially every year because they're looking for a better landing spot.
no, and I mean,
Sorry, that's
number
just
one,
my sidebar.
No, that's fine. Well, that's kind of what I want to talk about, though, to a degree. They have to figure out some way to stabilize all this stuff, and whether that is, I don't know how you can kind of do this with the coaches. I don't know. I'm going to save the NIL stuff for later. However, just specifically with DeBoer to Alabama, Fish to Washington, guys, these are 2 coaches that UCLA fans, to one degree or another, wished were coaching in Westwood, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true, right?
Yeah.
Now, with that being said, if this were going to play out, but DeBoer had come to UCLA and DeBoer had taken UCLA to glory and wonderfulness in his 2 years here, let's say that in that hypothetical world, to me, I'm kind of like, well, this kind of solves it for me. He would have gone to Alabama anyway. Like, there's no way that he takes UCLA to the college football playoff championship game this past season.
And he says, no, I'll stay.
He's still going Roll Tide, right?
Yeah.
Because as good as UCLA would be seen in that world at the top of entering in the Big Ten as a big job and all that stuff, they're still going to be seen as a job like Washington, a very good job with high potential, but not Alabama taking over for Nick Saban. So they would have lost him anyway, right? So that kind of, to me, puts to bed the, oh, gee whiz, I wish Kalen DeBoer was here, although it would have been nice having a couple better winning seasons for UCLA. Does that make sense? Am I tracking there?
Yeah.
Do you have any disagreement with that at all?
No, I don't. No, because it totally would have gone.
The Jed the Fish thing is a little bit different because, if this were 5 years ago, none of us would be like, oh, yeah, hire Jed the Fish over Chip Kelly. In fact, we all said that because he was the last coach that UCLA had before Chip Kelly got here, right?
Yeah.
So it's kind of hard to look back at that and be like, well, in hindsight, that would have been the good move because nobody in their right mind would have made that move. There's not anybody in the world that would have picked that, right?
Yeah.
Now, in hindsight, though, would they have made a better hire that would have hired Jed the Fish? Maybe.
Potentially, yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, you could definitely make that argument now. However, right, it wasn't ever going to be, right? And by the time Jed the Fish went to Arizona, there were people there that were clamoring for firing Chip Kelly, but it hadn't really gotten that much steam. Certainly we weren't. They were just starting their little kind of slow upward trajectory. So it's like they weren't going to get Fish. They weren't going to get and it's probably a good thing they didn't get DeBoer because we'd be having this. I don't know. I mean, it would be good. The last couple years would be good.
although-
The last couple years would be good.
I take 2 years.
But we'd be heartbroken right now.
Although when he gets 8 wins and 9 wins the next 2 seasons, and that's not good enough for Alabama fans.
I'm sure he'll get 10 and won't be good enough, right? But
Welcome, Kalen DeBoer to Westwood.
but with that being said, right, my hypothetical for you right now is if we would have hired Jed DeFish, if Jed DeFish were somehow UCLA's coach instead of Arizona's coach, I don't think that Washington would have been able to poach him in that situation. Do you guys agree or disagree with that? This is purely hypothetical nonsense, by the way.
What do you think, Mike?
I was going to ask you.
Do I think that Jed Fish would have gone?
If Fish had already had a Big Ten job like UCLA, or he was at whatever, one of the decent but not right now superstar programs in the Big Ten, entering the Big Ten. Let's say he was like at Michigan State or at UCLA or at one of the, like, I think those are on par right now, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of struggling right now, but they certainly have much more potential than like a Rutgers or something.
No, I still think he might go because the commitment at Washington is stronger than the commitment to football at Michigan State.
And it is a
UCLA.
huge brand.
Yeah.
Especially coming off a national championship appearance.
I think he's still
that
going.
is, yeah.
Well, it's not any huger brand than UCLA is. It's just UCLA is dormant and Washington isn't.
But it's,
True,
but
but with the kids right now?
Yeah, Washington invests in football more than UCLA does. It's just the truth. And it is what it is. It's not bad.
Yeah.
I'm not saying UCLA isn't a freaking, it's a worldwide brand. I know that. But right now
in the college football world which runs things.
Yeah, Washington invests more than UCLA. Yeah. Hence the lack of firing of a freaking coach. Never mind.
Okay. With that being said, that's the end of our completely hypothetical nonsense conversation about potential coaches that could have been at UCLA. Let's move on to basketball. Women's basketball talk. Mikey, the women's team had a rough game.
God,
over on the other side of town.
Dear Lord, I was hyping this one up all week long, and it was a good game, but it's always hard for I think any opponent to go into Galen Center and do well. That is such a cavernous arena.
Yeah, it is.
And it's very weird. The acoustics are weird. I have, it feels like that big old window, which they close because it has this weird glare when it's open. Beautiful shot of downtown LA, but it's cavernous. Like even in the first quarter, I think both UCLA and USC were shooting somewhere around like 20 to 30%. It was not good.
Mike,
it was painful to watch.
Mike, was it sold out like it was at Paul?
Oh yeah.
Oh, no.
So good on that. Like
no.
Props to all of them for that too.
Hello. I want to address this.
I know.
I want to address this.
Okay, Jake, go.
It's sold out, right, Bill?
Yeah.
Was it over sold out is what I want to know, because I have a report from someone very close to the What's Bruin show that said that they bought a ticket, went down there.
Please,
those
Jake, continue.
sons of bitching, goddamn overselling, carpet bagging, low class, low rent, that SC place over there didn't have enough seats for the people who wanted to be there, and collected money from people that didn't have seats. And we're talking maybe people who can't just stand there for 2 hours watching a game.
So they didn't get a refund?
I don't know. But it was like hell on earth watching that terrible game at that terrible place where our basketball team was not fortunate enough to come out with a win. Mike, did you hear any other things about that, about it being oversold?
No, but obviously Nancy's she's basically like a reporter in the streets.
Exactly.
Getting the down low. But yeah.
So Nancy went there trying to watch this dang game, and the gosh darn Trojans didn't have enough seats for her.
Exactly. And
That's terrible.
It's not a really good place for standing room only. Like maybe on one side,
it's freaking barn,
and that's on the one of the end sides. Yeah, it's just absolutely horrible. But back to the game.
Yeah.
UCLA just had a hard time scoring in the first half. I think they were down by like maybe 10 at halftime. They were down by 15 at one point. Charisma Osborne came out of nowhere in the third quarter, and I believe she scored 18 points. Really got UCLA back in it. They had no energy until she just started kicking things into high gear. And slowly from that's where things started to work for UCLA, especially going into the fourth quarter, when everybody just decided to wake up. And they got really close. They even with like, I think 4 minutes left, they were within 9 points.
And this is when
they got into like down by 5 points. That was the closest, I believe. Just could not close out. Like, dear God, Juju Watkins, like...
Well, they got hosed at the end with a friggin' double call, too, right? Some stupid bullshit
about
double
that,
foul
too,
thing.
which was weird because there was... thanks, Bill. There was a...
Bill just spritzed Mike.
I'm melting.
Sorry, Mike.
There was a play where the Trojans inbound. I think UCLA was down by 5, and they had some momentum, and I think it was called jump ball going to UCLA, and the Trojan threw an elbow at Kiki, pushing her back.
Terrible.
And then apparently, since Kiki got up and walked towards her, that was enough for a double technical, which is
the refs are at some hometown.
It was a bit rough there, but so unfortunately they got job with that one call. But at the same time, I'm not going to put one call on this loss.
When they were trailing,
they should have
big early,
very much
and
so,
couldn't quite get
and
over the
they
hump.
could not do anything in the first half. That is what did them in. Yeah, that's what got them this 73-65 loss. But good news, thank God there wasn't some East Coast bias because
everybody lost.
No, UCLA only fell to 5th from
good.
second place, and rightfully so. The Trojans are 6th in the nation. They both split their series. But UCLA, I think they have the most impressive resume to this date. I mean, I think they either have the most or tied for the most wins over top 25 teams. So
right.
they definitely, they're still pretty much safe unless they have a complete collapse, which I'm not saying it's possible.
The schedule is completely light from here, right?
No, God, no.
Yeah, bummer.
This week they travel to Colorado and Utah. Both of them are in the top 25. Colorado is, I believe, third in the nation. Yeah, that's tough. And then they have Stanford in 3 weeks at Stanford. No, yeah, the next 6 games are treacherous. It is going to be a very difficult journey for these women, and it's going to be very treacherous.
Yeah, 3-20 in their next 2 games. Ranked, yeah. Not so good.
So it's
this is a key stretch.
Yeah, I think if UCLA at least gets a split, I think they could possibly get the win in get the road sweep, but that's a tough deal against Colorado and Utah. Both of them are just playing solid basketball.
If they do, they should be celebrated, right? I mean,
if they
don't, it's not a big surprise.
They should definitely go back up to 2nd in the nation. If they split, I can see them staying around 5, 6, 7. If they lose both, I think that's out of the top 10.
But it's also crazy too because they were undefeated going into this, and obviously, in the driver's seat for the Pac-12, they lose one game, and now with 2 huge games coming up, they could, on one hand, they could seize control of the Pac-12, or they could be putting themselves, really behind in a really bad spot for the conference if they don't play well in the next weekend. So there's a lot going on for the next couple of games.
Yeah, it's pretty rough, but even still, one loss at the beginning of the season. If they get their, start winning again, they'll be fine. Currently, they're tied for 2nd with the Trojans. Stanford is in 2nd place, and Colorado is in 1st with 5 wins in conference.
But all these games are kind of like separation games. Now they've split the SC games, but they only play Stanford once, right?
Yeah,
so it's that's huge, and that's down the line. But they got Colorado, Utah. So it just is. We wish the ladies all the luck in the world.
Yeah,
and hopefully they continue playing well. And you would hope that if they started out slow this game, that wasn't characteristic of how they've usually played, right? I mean, they usually are coming out and whomping people.
Yeah, and I think I like this saying that they needed this loss because I don't think they would have gone undefeated, but having that hang over your head is a little bit rough. But that's out of the picture now. They're not undefeated. They have 1 loss, and that was a very critical loss.
Yeah.
Now they can definitely learn from this. I know people don't like it, but they needed to lose so that they can kind of feel that oh crap, we're pissed off. Because after the game, they were Corey Close and Charisma Osborne did the post-game presser.
Friend of the show, Corey Close.
Class acts, yeah. And they were complimentary of the Trojans, and they pointed out their own problems. And with that, I think that this team is just going to come back and just start punching people in the face.
Mike, is there a reason why we've had Corey Close on the show multiple times when they're not top 5 in the country? But now that they are top 5 in the country, don't you think it's time for old Mike Regalado to go get us an interview with Corey Close? I mean, come on, man.
Let's see what I can do.
Mike Regalado.
See what I can do.
You're the man.
All right. Yeah.
We love Mike.
Thank you.
All right, let's move on to more. Well, do you have anything more for the women's basketball?
No, that's pretty much it. I mean, we cover what's coming up. Yeah, if they just got to buckle down and I believe they can get this road sweep. Do I think it'll happen? No, but I think
that'll be. I mean, we'd be perfectly happy with a split.
Yeah.
Overjoyed with a sweep.
A split with a close
and kind
loss.
of bummed out about getting smoked twice, but that would be 3 losses in a row. But let's hope for the best and cross our fingers that the worst doesn't happen. But let's get on to a team that actually did win their last game.
Before having lost one of the worst games in program history.
Yeesh.
Men's.
Those guys went around there playing some basketball. And they can actually hit a couple shots this time. Whew.
Just about time.
All right, UCLA. So why is the men's schedule so wonky, by the way? I get so used to many years of UCLA, playing the Washington schools and playing the Utah and Colorado and all. Why is the schedule so stupid?
Because they added those 2 extra conference
I don't like
games
this.
A few years ago.
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I don't want to be like,
it's
shit, they just got blasted by Utah by 97 points and be like, oh, well, why aren't they playing Colorado next? I don't like these things.
Yeah, it's more conference games, fewer non-conference games, more headache and confusion as you were projecting right now, Jake, because it's like, why are you going? Yeah, exactly. Why are you going at Utah and then coming back to play Washington?
And hosting Washington.
Although I think in this situation, it was, despite our confusion,
by Colorado again, yeah.
Despite our confusion, it worked to their advantage because. All right, Jake, let's start with it. On Thursday night, and this I had some positivity. That the previous game, the previous 3 losses were pretty disheartening as well, especially with Mick Cronin not doing the post-game presser against Cal. In his weekly presser on that Tuesday, like I think it was 2 days before the Utah game, Mick Cronin was a different Mick Cronin, and you could tell. He had a different demeanor. He was talking about how, he was praising his players and just talking about how, but this is still a work in progress and we got to, get things going. And it seemed like maybe there was a whole heart-to-heart, more discussions, maybe things were open to try to figure out what the hell was going on. And that was a sentiment I got. And so when they started this game, UCLA actually did pretty well. They were just taking it to Utah. And I saw at the end of the first half, Utah was kind of slipping away, but I think UCLA had a 10-point deficit. Not bad, 33-23 against Utah. And then all hell broke loose, Jake. Sure, it was snowy and freezing in Salt Lake City that day, but it was hell for the Bruins. Utah outscored the Bruins 57-21.
Yeesh.
In the second half, Utah, they shot 50%. No, I'm sorry. They shot 56%. In the first half, they shot 41%. Yeah. 3-pointers. First half, 31%. Second half, 47%. Utah just freaking went off. They had 50 freaking rebounds as opposed to UCLA, which had 28.
Oh my God, my guys suck balls. You know it.
Wow.
If I suck balls, you are a team of suck balls mountain.
Yeah, we were on Suck Balls Mountain.
It was
against the Utes.
Rough. And
that's Barry, right?
Yeah, it was Barry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Barry.
And it was just completely rough. And it was just a low point. It was
Yeesh.
from the reports, this was the second worst loss in program history.
Yeah.
The first time in forever that no player scored in double digits. And one thing that I heard, which, and not to pile on Lazar Stefanovic, who I like, I just think he's been put in a situation to where he's forced to do more. He's forced to do more than he's ready for, I guess. He's the quote unquote veteran, but it seems like a little bit too much is put on his shoulders, and
he's probably
a lot of
hearing
fans,
it from that Utah crowd too.
Not just the Utah fans. He's hearing it from the UCLA fans, and he heard it from both sides after that game. And the unfortunate stat that I saw from him, and this is only because he played so many freaking minutes.
Yeah,
he had a minus 47.
That's
minus 47.
Explain that, Mike. What does that mean?
A plus minus. Yeah, plus for every points you get, minus for every point they get. Ooh. So like if you go, if I get in the game and your team, as opposed to mine, goes on a 10-0 run, negative 10 for me.
So it was a minus 40. Oh wow.
Yeah. That's rough.
That's rough.
And that was fun being in that limbo for 3 days. And then Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m., the women's game happens, and just another loss. And then 4 p.m. right after at Pauley Pavilion across town, 11 miles away, UCLA, the men's team, did something I don't think anybody expected. They came out and played with some continuity, with some consistency.
Some defense.
They were hitting some freaking shots. Their defense, which was non-existent against Utah, came back. They just
new players out there, other players?
for extended time.
Yes.
Yeah, nobody was getting yanked after like one or two mistakes. And that's what, and we're not the only ones that saying this. Everyone's been saying this. That's what these players need. They need to know how to go out there and screw up and how to fix it. If you screw up and you get pulled, well, like we said last week, are you going to be looking over your shoulder every game? Every time you're inserted into the game. So it was really good, even though there wasn't a lot of. I'm not going to say it was an elite execution and production for this team, but it was not only was it so much better from Thursday's game, it was relieving. It was the first time like this year I thought this team played as a whole. Maybe it was a whole like
kind of helped they shot better.
They shot so much better.
So,
I'm doing my weekly stat.
Will that be their
story.
next game? That's my big question.
That's the thing. Can they keep that consistency? That's going to be the biggest thing. I don't think
if
so.
If they keep the consistency, that means they're going to go back to shooting like 35%. That's the problem.
Well,
so far, this is the outlier game.
Well, consistency with the way that they're playing here, because we've seen it before, but this is the most complete game they've had.
No, that's my point. I'm saying that, I hope this is what's going to be the new consistent play from them, right?
There you go. Yeah.
Up till now, this is the one that's like the outlier. That's the worry. Like, can they shoot like this again in a game, or was this just a lucky game for them?
We'll find out very soon.
Do you guys think that, like, how related was the effort they had in the Washington game to the near historic loss in the Utah game, to the bad weekend against Cal and Stanford the games before? And it's like, so I think what Mike's kind of getting at is this they've cratered and now they're going to start crawling back out of it. It doesn't mean they're going to win every game, but it means, like, are we going to be having some better performances digging up from it? Like, what do you guys think?
I think it's a two-pronged approach. It is, part of it is the embarrassment of getting their ass whipped at Utah.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
And the other part is coach making some subtle, slight adjustments and opening it up to Jan Vide, is how you pronounce his name, right?
Yeah.
And Fibli. I don't know how to pronounce the
Jan
names.
Fibli?
Yeah. Okay.
Sorry, Elan Fibli. Jan Vide.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Bienvenue.
Seriously.
But
But those two players are getting more playing time. And it's cool to see that just by them playing a little bit more, it's changing the dynamic, changing the makeup of what's going on out there. Just subtle things like that. So the answer is, I think it's a little bit, in my opinion, a little bit of, hey man, these are athletes. These are not just athletes. These are really good athletes who have some pride in what they do.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, let's just get better one way. The other thing is coach going, let's try some different
and I think that's what happened.
Starters and see what happens.
And I think that's
Different
just and rotations as well.
Sorry, that's the word. Rotations.
Like I said, after that loss to Cal, that was a crater moment. And I think the Utah game was the emphasis. But I think they did start to play a little bit better in that first half. But then there was questions about, well, did they quit on the team? Did they quit on Cronin in the second half? I can't say.
I would say no, right? If they quit,
especially after the Washington game,
yes, I don't think they quit.
Yeah, they looked like a tournament team against Washington. I'm not going to get crazy and say they were elite, but it was a really fun game to watch because they were very effective.
I just say competitive.
NIT?
I just say they're competitive.
True, yeah, that's true.
Well, we have to acknowledge that part of the Utah game was the Utes.
What is a Ute?
I mean, they got it rolling, and they started steamrolling, and they're dealing with a team that hasn't been there before, and all of a sudden, so I mean, yeah, you could definitely make the argument. Well, were they quitting on Cronin? And I think that the effort against Washington and the win against Washington is a sign that they didn't quit in that particular game. But it also kind of lends more to the fact that fucking Utah just got on a heater.
Yeah,
and that's a hostile environment. And like, gee whiz, is that the first time a UCLA athletics team has gone to that horrible, terrible, hateful place and come out of there with their, tails between their legs, getting their ass thoroughly kicked?
They weren't at McHale, Jake. They were not at McHale.
No, Rice Eccles is what I'm getting at, right?
I mean, but you're saying no good. Anyway, continue.
I'm just saying, like, the Utes got it cooking, and just because we're used to the football team getting their ass kicked there, it's more unusual for the basketball team to get their ass kicked. But it was kind of the same sort of vibe, and I think it was I think a big part of it was how good the Utes played, as opposed to, the Bruins were just kind of still playing at that level they were at, but it wasn't like, this is going towards the did they quit thing, right? I think a big part of it was the Utes just played very well as well, right? It wasn't necessarily a quitting thing. So if they are digging their way out of this a little bit, a couple of things that point out to me that stuck out to me from what Cronin has been saying, and he's once more just emphasizing that they're good kids, they're nice kids, they maybe need to be a little more ferocious. He cited even his veteran Bona had like 5 rebounds over 2 games. Can't have that, right?
Yeah, he had something like 18 points and 1 rebound against Washington, which honestly, his offensive post game was awesome. Like the fact his moves, I was like, where did you learn that? I mean, we've seen it, but we haven't seen as much and as consistent as he played against Washington. We haven't seen that all season long.
Yeah.
But getting 1 rebound, and I think it was in the last 2 minutes of the game, 2-3 minutes.
Hey,
yeah, you cannot have that. You cannot have that.
Bona lost his mojo on that, right?
I lost my mojo.
You need more than 5 rebounds in 2 games.
Oh yeah, for the big guy. Yeah.
But the way he's playing, like I said, like his post play, he's a Bona. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome.
And speaking to like what we're talking about of letting players play, Elan Fableau, his rebounds.
Bienvenue.
His rebound. Right. His rebounds.
I think we just came up with a nickname.
What?
Say it again.
Bienvenue.
No.
Elan Fableau.
Bienvenue. That's what we're gonna have to do.
Nice. And despite the fact that he still played minimal minutes, it's still more than he has been playing. His as I look into the more specific numbers, his rebounds per minute increased. I think it was one of 3 players that did that this week, and that just shows. I mean, that's what we saw during the Maui Invitational. What was it, that last game against, what was it, Marquette? Oh, Gonzaga. I think he had something like 9, and it's like, whoa, this kid kind of was it? Either way, whatever the final game of the Maui Invitational was, I can't remember right now. We'll look at the schedule and tell
whatever.
you
It's all good.
He was like, whoa, this kid can rebound. And it was like, oh, we're going to see more of him. And we didn't. And there was that one game where he went in for 30 seconds, made 1 error, and Cronin pulled him.
Yeah.
Well, now he has more time. Now we're seeing what he can do. And I think that is at least for him, and actually on a grander scale, that's giving these players more confidence to go out and do what Cronin wants them to do. So it was a really good game all around for not only letting younger players play more, but also playing consistently, as I said.
But also, and I don't want to lose sight of this, right? We, especially under Cronin the last 3 years, and with all of the vets that they had for so many years, we got really spoiled as UCLA fans, and we're already spoiled, like with the history of UCLA and yada, 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 right? And we get impatient and all that stuff. But this is still a team, and it's what Bill said for the last couple of weeks. They're a team they're a developmental squad at this point, right?
Yeah.
And do we want to see them lose by 50 in Utah? No, we do not. However, were either of you like close to tears after them getting beat up by Utah?
I was just shocked. I was like, wow.
Embarrassing, but it's like
it's embarrassing, but it's not like I don't even look at this like. Technically, it's one of the worst.
It was so bad
losses
that I
in
didn't think
history.
this could happen in this year, where we've saw the less production from this more experienced team. It's like, I guess I should be surprised, or I shouldn't be surprised, but I was.
My point being is that it's not like this isn't a team that was playing like gangbusters, or that was, that we had, like, obviously we had higher expectations coming into the season because we thought it was all going to work out a little bit better than this. But since it hasn't, right, this wasn't, if you're going to tell me that this was a year in which UCLA, after watching them play 10 games, this is a year where UCLA was going to get their butts kicked in a few of these games, well, I think I'd probably believe you if you gave me all of the, how this team is laid out and all the new faces and all that stuff. I would find it believable. So I think that, being brought close to tears by this loss would be a little bit hyperbolic, and I think that would probably be, this is one of the growing pains of the season, and I think we can move past it and just hope that this team gets better as we go. And maybe this Washington game is a sign of that. And we can start to get excited about how these guys are developing. Because I think that, look, it's going to take more than half a season of struggle for me to be like, oh my gosh, I don't know, maybe Cronin's off on this one or something like that, or maybe it's time to re-examine Cronin. Like, the guy is a good coach. I think we all have faith that he's a good coach, and I think we have faith that he will get these guys to a point to which, that they need to be. And also, as Bill pointed out, add stuff along the way too. So just let's, we've had a lot of good seasons the last few years. It's kind of a reset button this year. We all kind of have to accept that and just move the F on with it, right? And there are still things about this team that you can kind of enjoy if you just step back from whatever your expectations were before the season started, and go on from there. And I think Cronin's got enough credibility to absorb a bad season. And I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I don't want to be like accused of like loser speech, but that's just kind of where I'm at with this basketball team this particular year, so sue me. Anybody have anything else to say about men's basketball?
No, like you said, you referenced me saying it for the last couple of weeks. Is that it's going to be a lot of growing pains this year, and we're seeing it. If the majority, because they're probably going to be, and Mike, you could probably talk to this. There'll probably be a transfer or two at the end of this season. But if the majority of this team can stay together, this has been a rough season. So you've gone through this stuff together as freshmen. So as
literal growing pains.
Yeah, little growing. So as sophomores and try change the makeup here and there on the edges of this team, this can be a pretty darn scrappy team next year. Right. So this is,
or even by the end of this year, we'll see.
Exactly. That's what I was about to say. So hopefully if we can keep seeing improvements like this, even if they lose, they're so competitive. Like it's close. Because I thought the Marquette game, the Gonzaga game, where they were competitive. They lost, but they were competitive.
Those were horribly officiated games. But yes, they were competitive. They stayed in those games.
They stayed in. So if they could be like that each game and hopefully eke out a couple wins, but stay like that, that's an improvement, guys.
Or at least not have embarrassing losses either.
Well, and you bring it up, and this is something I totally forgot about. But up until this game against Utah, they had really not had a big loss. There were all these kind of depressing, kind of mopey, kind of they can't shoot, but they're losing by 5, 6, 7, 8 points. And then finally the dam breaks against Utah.
Yeah.
And hopefully that is a little bit of a reset button. Let's just wash all of this, all this is water under the bridge, and now they can move up from here. But it's just it's not like they haven't been trying all year long. It's just they have some deficits that right now they can't make up for. And the main one I think is the shooting part of it. But we'll see. We'll see if that can get better throughout the year. But anywho, they still got how many more games, Mike?
Oh, 80 million. We just kind of started conference play. We definitely have.
Let's see where they end up in conference play.
We have about 6 more weeks, 7 more weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
Of conference play.
When's football season, guys? Gee whiz.
Well,
I know none of you guys are excited about that, but
end of March, early April. That's about when spring break happens, and that's when spring ball. So,
at least the women's team is still playing. We'll see.
Hells yeah, still 14-1.
All right, well let's get on with it.
Do you think we drink too much?
No, we don't drink too much. Men face reality, women don't. That's why men need to drink.
I hate it when podcasters talk about what they're drinking.
What else am I gonna drink, Bob? A fucking Fresca?
No, Bob, we're having a little bit more than Frescas tonight. Thank you very much. Welcome to the What's Bruin Symposium. We thank you for your support for just how much, Mike?
$2.
$2.
$2 a month. You can support the Bruins, the What's Bruin Show on Patreon, patreon.com/What's Bruin Show or what'sbruinshow.com, or on the Substack for a little more than how much, Mike?
$2.
$2.
Yeah, a little more than $2. It could be on the Substack, what'sbruin.substack.com. And I had just took Megan back up to Berkeley. We went up there over the weekend, so I was up there. And one of my favorite things to do when I get up to the Bay Area is go to the local Bay Area Costco's, because there's always a treasure trove of wonderful whiskeys that aren't generally in the rotation down here in the Southland. So just one that I picked up that's an old reliable, never disappoints, is pretty much any Old Forester above the basic Old Forester. So like this one is 1920. It was on sale up there for like $40. Prohibition style 115 proof is always a wonderful bourbon. I love all of their products. And I also picked up a rye that I'd never heard of called Minor Case. Straight rye whiskey, and it was finished in sherry casks, and it was just sitting up there at Costco. Couldn't pass it up. I know what's wrong with me. And I got a couple bottles of Whistle Pig for really cheap as well. So it was quite an adventure.
Whistle Pig is about 80, and you got it for what?
So let's price this out, okay? They had a 3-pack of 375s, okay, half liters, okay? It was 12 and 10, and then a maple syrup in the 3-pack, right?
I don't like the maple syrup, but okay.
Yeah. Well,
The
anyways.
12 and the 10 are good.
So the 12 is like $130.
Okay.
And the 10 is like $80. And
For the full liter.
For the full.
Okay.
And so if you do the math on it, basically what was in the 3-pack should have been like $110, and I got it for $80. So I'm going to go broke saving money type of deal.
Yeah.
So it was very good. Anyways, but what I'm drinking tonight is the Old Forester 1920, and I love it. Mikey, or actually, Bill, you had a beer today.
I've had a beer. I have a New England Hazy Jane. I've had a Diet Coke, and I'm currently having a sparkling water from Kirkland.
You commented on the Hazy Jane.
I actually like the hazy. I didn't like this one as much. I don't know what the heck I was drinking last week. I was here, Mike.
Yeah.
That was Sculpin IPA from that.
That's
South
right.
Bay.
That's right. And I like that one a lot.
Bill
I
enjoying
like
the
that more.
suds more regularly now.
Yeah. Ballast Point. Ballast Point. That's what it was. That was really good. Yeah.
That was really good. So there you go. That's what I'm drinking. Mike, what about you?
Yeah, I had one of those that you got me. Also, just absolutely took down this Fall of Troy Imperial India Pale Ale.
Go Bruins!
An orange vanilla Imperial IPA from Belching Beaver. And I should have had this before the women's basketball game. Maybe that would have helped with things Juju-wise. But, Juju-wise. Juju Watkins had like 30 points. God, she's so good. But she's
a baller.
She is so good. Anyway,
He's
whatever.
just a baller, man.
But until she graduates from USC. Sorry, just because you're on the women's team doesn't mean you're not on our radar. I'm watching you, Juju Watkins. Baller. But anyway, Bill got this for me. I think he got it twice. You're like, hey, have you tried this before? I'm like, yeah, you got it for me last year.
Nice one, Bill.
No, it's a
don't
really
have
good.
that long of a memory.
It's weird because all these flavors, the orange vanilla Imperial IPA, I would normally probably pass on it. This was not bad.
Good.
It's good.
Well, very good. Thank you very much once again for supporting the show. We do this because we like to do it, but your support ensures that we keep doing it. So thank you very much. You can look in the show notes for all the places you can subscribe. So with that, let's get on to some football talk.
Blue 32, Blue 32, California, hey! Football.
Mind you, for everybody out there, this is basically Jake for the next 20 minutes
That's
feeling
not
himself.
It's not true.
Okay, 15 minutes.
I don't know. I took that. Oh, wait, no, here it is.
It's been a solid 28 hours or so of feeling myself.
It's not going to be that. It's not.
Bullshit.
It's just. But it's not.
Go ahead.
Not 20 minutes, maybe like 2 or 3.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Thank God, I'm tired.
Yeah. No, we
It's been a long ass day, Jake.
You a-holes.
I've been from LA
And I told you we didn't need a pod this week. Mike's like, oh, a pod.
Bill was like, hey, I'm in. I'm
Bill
like,
actually said he
when
wanted
are
a
we
pod.
going to get this the rest of the week? Plus, tomorrow night, UCLA plays, not on Thursday. On Wednesday night, they play.
Yeah, so then don't show up here and be in a hurry, dickheads. That's all I'm asking.
I'm sorry. I think we showed up anyway. It's like my mom saying, I was like, do it right. I was like, oh, that's weird because last time you said just as long as you show the effort. Thanks, Mom.
Parenting comes
Exactly.
Parenting comes out in many forms.
Why did you do it right? Last time you said if I just to show the effort. Come on, hell.
Yeah.
I mowed the grass, not well, but I did it.
Look, this is all I'm going to say. Since Mike covered it in the BRO-filiated Headlines, but since last week we confirmed that at least for now J. Mike is coming back, so that's a big victory, right, for the Bruins. When did Spencer Holstege pull his thingy jigger out of the transfer portal? That happened.
Keegan Jones.
No, Spencer Holstege did as well too, I believe. And then Keegan Jones, of course, he's back. So once again, I would just like to reiterate that.
You were right.
These guys are all coming back. There is zero possibility that if they actually have, an actual starting quarterback this year and they don't yank his chain in the first game, which we all thought that was the right call. Even Bill acknowledged that at the beginning of the season. But if this is our quarterback starting out at the beginning of the year,
My name is
Ethan.
Just call me E.
He's back, folks. But the Bruins are going to have a better offense next year, and they'll be going into their first year of the Big Ten, at the very least, fairly darn competitive. And you can make a lot of arguments about how this offense could be pretty darn good going into the Big Ten. And so we made that supposition last week, and I want to reiterate it. Like things are pointing that direction. And Bill, do you want to acknowledge that I got a point yet? or are you still going to poo-poo my point? I just want to know that.
I don't understand what you mean. I'm just listening, Jake.
Is the Bruin offense going to be better next year than it was this year, Bill? Given that they're going to the Big Ten.
No, I think it's going to be. I think it can be about. It'll be about the same.
You think they're going to average 25 points next year?
Okay, you got to think about it. So
no, I do. I am thinking about it.
The quarterback's.
Are you thinking about it?
Going to be good, but their running game is gone down, right?
Oh, has it? They got this guy.
No,
and they got this guy.
Oh, but they took away your favorite player of all time.
This guy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So do you think it's really actually going to be worse?
So yeah, I don't.
You don't have to. I know you're struggling to disagree with me. You don't have to disagree with me.
I don't think Steele is. I don't think. Sorry, let me rephrase this. I think Steele did very well this past year. I don't think he was the best. I don't think he's what's that guy's name? Charbonnet. He's not a Charbonnet, but damn, he did pretty darn well. So, I just think they'll be marginally better. How about that, Jake? I don't think it's going to be like, oh my gosh. Now, the thing that gives me hope that maybe I'll tip your way.
What caused them the most problem last year?
Well, no, here's the thing. At the very last game, I swear to God, Garber started throwing downfield to somebody.
That's my biggest concern.
Mr. J. Michael Sturdivant, right? And Ford. And it just opened things up. It was great to see that. So if they can continue to do that, okay. But it was only one game. That's not a lot of. That's not a lot. It
was only one half.
I know it's not a big population size. Okay, so if that can continue, then I do think they'll be better. But there's a lot to tell still. The wait and see.
There's a lot to really dissect from this, and I'm sure we're going to do that as we stretch into the summer and fall. But let's say their Garbers is healthy. I think they can have a pretty good offense. Not great, better than last year. But also,
well, wait, you don't want to acknowledge that they could be great. I mean, they could have a great offense.
I'm not going to say that.
They probably are.
No,
I got to
see spring. I got to see
Why
spring.
Why wouldn't they have a
first.
great offense? I mean, don't you feel the tools are there?
Offensive line, because they're all
going
to
be junior seniors?
Near great at all last year, or even good.
Yeah, but couldn't you draw a straight line to the quarterback play being that problem?
Jake,
so if they solve the quarterback issue?
I'm trying to feed your ego. Stop talking. I was going to say that with Garbers and the majority of the offense returning, we're also forgetting about Colin Schlee, who is a freaking warrior. Who not
if they actually deploy him correctly?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. If they do next year what they tried to do this year,
what they should have done
and probably initiated some good throws downfield with Garbers, then you come in and you're like, oh, damn, Schlee's going to happen. And you have this tank running at you. That's definitely going to help out. But great. I really have to see how everything progresses.
I didn't say they're going
in
to be great. I said
just did.
No. I said, couldn't you make the argument that they have the potential to be great? Like you're putting a ceiling on it.
Okay.
I'm saying they can have a very good offense.
I'll answer that question.
They can have a good offense. They're probably going to have a better offense.
No, better, yes. Great. Potential to be great.
You don't think they have potential to be great with the guys they have?
No.
I mean, we were just saying they had the potential to be great last year with the same cast of characters. Like almost the exact same cast of characters.
Yeah, but they proved us wrong.
Yeah, I think that was much more about the quarterback handling of the situation. But anyways,
there was also a certain quarterback that's now in Oregon, which we're not going to talk of. Do you want less?
Yes, we do. But that's my point, right? Addition by subtraction here, and in that case, one dude subtracted, so that does bring me around to the real thing I want to talk about with this football season, this football off season, and that is now, at least until the spring, we've kind of found out who is leaving the program and who's staying. And I would say with the notable exception of the defections they had because UCLA cheaped out and didn't pay their defensive coordinator, which was still to me just an absolute sin.
Fail.
Sin, fail, whatever, on behalf of the UCLA athletic department, letting Danton Lynn go across town and then steal a couple players with him. But other than that, there haven't been any real major defections other than the natural, this guy's going to the draft and this guy's aged out kind of thing, right? And so whatever you want to say about it, I want what you think. Look, none of us are happy with where the Chip Kelly administration has gotten to. And I think all of us would be happy if we could just hit the reset button, even if it's just selfishly for the fact of that would create a little bit of buzz in a relatively buzzless program right now. But if we all have to acknowledge that he's going to be the coach going forward, at least for another season, at least, you have to admit that when guys enter into this program, they don't leave lightly. I mean, he retains his guys. This guy is the latest. But there's not a lot of guys that just kind of like flit away. And in a landscape where players are hopping all over the place for all sorts of different reasons, like that's one thing you can point to with this program and say, well, they're doing something right, because it's not like, we bring in a bunch of transfers and we don't know if Spencer Holstidge will be able to play. We don't know if this guy will be able to play. We know what Keegan Jones can do. Like, I think we all don't think he's a superstar, but he's a valuable player in your program. Can we acknowledge that?
Yes.
And so they're hanging on to some of this talent that probably should be able to find a better home somewhere, or another home, not better maybe. But that does say something about the where this program is right now. That I think a lot of people were expecting a bigger mass exodus. So what happened? Why wasn't there a mass exodus? Because it should have happened, shouldn't it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say mass exodus, but I wouldn't say it was light. There were some key guys.
What key guy left other than, like I said, the no discussion of Kamari, right? That's the main one, but that's directly related to them cheaping out on the defensive coordinator.
Which is so funny because USC just hired a co-defensive coordinator, which is funny.
So I was trying to get Michael Castillo on the phone for that, but we couldn't.
But guys, I don't think I think you're a little premature, like with a lot of things, Jake.
That's none of your business.
Premature because spring
I
ball.
lost my mojo.
Spring ball can have another wave. Right?
It can.
So let's just wait for your argument to actually have some more merit.
Well, Bill, that's like 4
spring.
months away, and you're probably not even going to be on the show at that point. So
true.
But so why don't we argue in the now, Bill? Stay in the moment.
I'm just saying. The argument is there's still another wave that could probably happen. And
but why why wouldn't it have already happened? Like, what if guys are going to leave after spring? It's because why? Like,
they didn't get playing time.
Yeah, so why aren't they getting playing? Because they got beat out by somebody else, right?
Okay. Well,
so I mean, that's a reason to leave, but it's not the reason that we thought they were going to leave. We thought they were going to leave because the program is at its nadir, right? The program is not paying anybody nothing. The program, is no buzz, right? A couple of these things don't line up. I agree. The program is buzzless right now, and a big part of that is how Chip Kelly has managed the situation. But there are other factors here that are like pointing to, well, maybe they do have some sort of foundation that they're working with that, to one degree or another, like this is a positive in an otherwise negative situation. I just want to point that out.
All
like,
right.
am I completely off base here or not?
No, you're not. You're actually, I think personally that you are correct. I just don't think that they have the potential to be great. That's a wait and see.
Certainly. Well, and I think this is semantics here.
Like
I'm
I
saying
said, let's
they
wait
have
till
the
spring.
potential to be great. I'm not saying they're going to be great. I'm saying they have the potential to be
Jake,
great.
can't you just be happy with basketball? Oh, God.
Sorry. No. But the other part of this that I just want to briefly talk about is the whole NIL thing. Because what do you guys think? Like, the way that it is right now, like we just saw the story that broke across country. Bill, did you see that? The Cam Brown, or not Cam Brown, the guy in Washington State, the Cam, what's his name? The quarterback from
Cam
Washington.
Rising.
No, not Cam Rising.
No.
That's the Utah guy. There's another Cam.
Ward.
Cam Ward. Oh, bingo. Okay, thanks, guys. Cam Ward just declared for the NFL draft, pulled his name out, and now he's going to Miami to play for Mario.
Money, I'm sure.
Well, I know that's why, right? That's why. It's because he's getting more money to go there, and he probably feels like he has something to prove on the college level. But that's a guy who's played for that'll be his third school, right? Incarnate Word.
Yeah.
Then a couple years at Wazoo, and now Miami. This is not the exception, right? This is becoming more and more the common thing. And Mike, you were lamenting it a minute ago, or at the top of the show. If the coaches are going to be able to like flip flop and go wherever they want and flit on the breeze, and this is an argument that people have been making for 40 years, right? The players should also have that flexibility.
Yeah.
However, like, is this what college football is going to be like going forward? Because I feel like this is a window where it's like open to anarchy and chaos and the Wild West. And eventually they're going to figure out some way to allow these teams to have a little more stability with their rosters and have it not just be a complete mercenary shit show. And the reason why I bring it up is just because to me it feels a little bit untenable. And this is just me speaking as someone who runs a football team on a much lower level in a league that's very loosey-goosey and kind of loosely affiliated. But we have rules in place for, there's 4 teams in Southern California. And if a player chooses to hop from one team to another, like they have to sit out a year unless the team that they're leaving releases them to play for that new team, right? And that's to protect the stability of these teams and the competitive balance of the teams to a degree. Now, college football is a game where competitive balance never has really been at the top of the list of important priorities. However, where it got to right now with, obviously, they're trying to make NIL right now is pay for play. It's not anything other but pay for play at this point, right? I don't think they want it to be that eventually. They want to work out some way to where these guys are getting paid for what they're supposed to be getting paid for, their name, image, and likeness being used, but not necessarily come here and we're going to give you a giant paycheck to just come here and play. There's a subtle difference. There's a difference. Sorry. The first question for you guys is, do you think that this is what college football is from now on, or do you think it will settle down into some sort of, more stable situation going forward?
Yes,
do you have any
I
thoughts
think
on
that there will be regulations which will probably go up to the federal level to try to quell all this madness. But yeah, this is where we're at now, and even some of the coaches, there were some rumblings that's probably why Saban quit, because he's just like, okay, it's a different game. I'm
agree.
out.
Who could blame him, right? He's old.
And a lot of other coaches are doing that too. So. Yeah, this is where it's at. And like everything, even when we're introduced with new things, when the Model T, started getting better and better engines, you just adapted to it,
Yeah, and I agree. There is going to be an adaptation here. But Bill, how do you feel about that? Is this what it's going to be, or are we going to get? Is this a bridge to another place?
It's a bridge. I think this is that. It's the Wild West point, and at some point they'll find more. Whether it be I think was this Chip that said to have a commissioner.
He was one of the people. He said it before the season, and they reiterated it during the bowl practices.
Look, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think you can nitpick it, but I don't think that's a bad idea to have it. Take it away from every other college sport and just have something over the top teams. I don't know what you want to define as top teams, but over a certain amount of teams, and have some kind of rules and regulations. Because as we can see, the NCAA has no teeth on this. They're just there in the background. Yeah. So yeah, I do think it will. I do think it will tighten up. I don't know when though. I mean, I honestly don't. I kind of look at it as kind of like how the NBA though is too. Like NBA for the last 15 years has been swinging towards like player empowerment, and then you have the James Hardens of the world kind of like taking it to the most extreme level. And now it's kind of, the NBA is kind of swinging back a little bit. Yeah, and actually, LeBron's in that little boat of player empowerment as well. Yeah.
And now it's kind of swinging back a little bit. I feel like that's where we're at on the college stuff, is like it was so out of balance for 100 years, right? And now we had this kind of schism, and it's ripped, and now it's swinging the other direction to just absolute, chaos and freedom. And for a lot of reasons, that's good, but it can't stay there, right? It's gotta like settle somewhere else.
Yeah.
And so where I'm going with this is, well, number one, UCLA, we're all kind of lamenting that they're in this kind of mid area right now, right? Achieving at a mid level and underachieving and whatnot. But
UCLA is so mid.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
I wish what is it? I wish they were extra.
That's right. Very true.
I personally,
goddamn kids,
like, you're seeing like all these collectives across the country and stuff, and like they're like, this is our time, this is our window, and they're like, doing like fan fundraising drives and stuff like that, and you got to do your NIL. To me, like, the way NIL should be is there should be businesses chipping in to put money into the program, however it's steered. If it's steered towards the university or towards the collector or whatever, I think at some point those are going to merge, right? But it needs to be businesses actually paying these guys as, sponsors of some sort. But the whole system of, oh yeah, Bill Shirley, UCLA grad from 2002. Mike Regalado, UCLA grad from, did you graduate, Mike?
Yeah, I graduated.
What year?
2003.
Yeah, 2003. Jake Merrifield, 1999. Oh, we're all going to chip in like $20 each off our, we're going to do a direct deposit, $20 each, and that's all going to go to J Mike so he can catch a touchdown or something for the Bruins. That's not the way that we want this to go. That's bullshit,
yeah,
right?
But that's where it's at.
But it is right now, but eventually, like, I don't think that's real tenable
eventually,
either.
In 10 years, it's going to be 10 years of NIL, and we're just going to be used to whatever is going on at the time.
But that's not going to be us, like, popping for that, even a little bit at a time. That might be a part of it, but it's not like the main thrust of it. And so I guess what I'm getting at is, with UCLA kind of, to one degree or another, they are kind of weathering the storm of whatever this is right now. And if they're not in a place to contend at the highest level, I know we all wish they had a different coach or whatever, but they don't. And we're going to be, at the very least, they're already in the conference they need to be in, to where when this does settle down, they will be able to compete at a high level if they get all their kind of ducks in a row. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know. So if we have to, suffer through or, absorb whatever the program is right now, at the very least, still be thankful that they did make the jump to the Big Ten, so that they're not going to get, they're in a position, unlike the Arizonas of the world, unlike the teams that are in the ACC. God bless Berkeley, but I mean, gee whiz, there's who knows how long that's going to last. There's still reasons to be optimistic, always long term on UCLA athletics, football specifically, and the whole program, included, just because they're still positioned in a great position, and it's just they just got to get it aligned properly, right? Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Great talking to you guys. Let's get to Bill's favorite part of the show.
What's brewing with you? You ask me. What's brewing with me? Yeah. What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Maggie, what's wrong with you?
We're back to the swing of things. I went back to work last week after 3 weeks off. Fantastic. Totally threw me off. But yeah, I'm back in dad mode as the girls they have 3 games this week. I right before this podcast, I just drove. We're in the North Valley. I just drove from Laverne, way out by Pomona, by the fairgrounds, to see my girls, who had a valiant effort. I don't want to be that dad, but I think the coach really has to go deeper into the rotation to be
Mike's that
successful.
parent.
Not yet. I'm critical. I know what I'm talking about. And the goddamn refs need to understand when to change the possession arrow, because you don't give the other team
That's
3
BS,
straight.
Blue.
It was totally BS.
That's
but anyway, but yeah. So I just came from that. Wednesday and Thursday we have games, so I'm going to be cheering on
Corn dogs for all these people, Jackie.
Exactly.
Corn dogs.
Be cheering on the Cougars. So, it's just I'm really like, and Bill can understand this. I am so hyper focused into this. I'm like so excited. Like I was definitely excited when Violet got into volleyball.
Perspective.
And just like helping her out with that, but basketball was my sport, the first sport I got into.
Yeah.
So seeing both my daughters at the same time,
very cool.
Freaking awesome.
Having an on-site team, team is a gift.
I love it. And it's just like little things when I see them play or doing their pregame routine. I'm like, oh wow, where did you learn to do that? Okay, we got to work on that. I don't want to be like, Tiger Woods' dad, but I at least want to be present enough to go, hey, this is what you could be working on. Hey, try this. I just want to help them out, as I do with everything.
Yeah.
With their regular day, with their homework, with everything. They want to play basketball. I'm going to try to do what I can to make them the best basketball players they can be. Bill, what's wrong with you?
I love it, Mike.
Right? It's fucking exciting.
I know.
So
Jake's
cool.
always like, oh god.
Oh, Jake has been ahead of this game way before all of us.
I mean, he was Mr. Soft, and now he's like, Bill, what are you doing over?
Jake has been team dad. He's been coach. He's been.
I'm looking at the pictures. He was.
I coach basketball. I coach softball.
PTA
president.
Oh, I love it. I freaking love it.
Yards.
Yes,
freaking love it.
Yeah,
but that's why when Bill's like, man, I gotta go to practice. I'm like, oh, you started coaching? No, I just gotta go practice. I'm like, what the hell is wrong with you, pal?
I don't go to practice, but
I do. I watch.
This guy's a sicko.
I watch. Guys, I am new things. 2024 is I'm doing a triathlon. So it's something that I wanted to try. And
very proud of you, Bill.
Thank you. So I signed up for it. It's at April 27th out in Long Beach. It's the Bay Shore Sprint Triathlon.
Nice.
In the Bay. I hope it's not in the nasty part of the Bay of Long Beach where all the right next to San Pedro.
Suck it up, soldier.
I know.
Wait, how far do you have to ride?
I'm gonna come out looking like the guy from RoboCop. Remember that guy? Acid.
Grossest scene of all time. That was amazing.
So this is
a half mile.
I'll buy that for $1.
Half mile on the water. This is a sprint, guys. So go sprint, Olympic, and then of course if you want to go hardcore, it's Ironman. So it's half mile on the water, like 14 miles. In the bike.
What are the hills like on the bike?
4 miles running.
You see the track yet?
No, I have not. At Long Beach, is Long Beach really hilly?
I'm telling you, I'll do it with you.
It's flat-ish.
I'll do it with you.
There are probably some hills, but nothing like.
There's not a lot of hills on the bike.
Yeah, nothing like where we're at now. No,
I have no idea.
No,
I'm okay with the bike. I don't care.
Go, just on a weekend on a Saturday.
Yeah,
go have dinner downtown Long Beach. Just check it out because
Watch
it's
out,
most
the
likely going to be
looking for you.
I call him, say, hey, show me Long Beach. No, it's pretty flat.
Yeah,
it's a pretty flat area.
Yeah, so I will. I've already committed. I started doing my swimming, which at some point, Jake, I got to show you. You got to tweak it and show me what the hell I'm doing.
Oh, now
But
he
I made
wants
it
you at
across.
his practice.
But I did. Hey, I made it across. I lapped. At first, I couldn't even get a couple feet. Now I can go across. So, God,
I'm very proud of you.
Yeah, thanks. So there you go. So that's what's brewing with me. Jake, what's brewing with you?
I don't know. I just came back from the Bay Area. There'll be a couple bare minimums waiting for you guys as soon as I get them edited.
Yes, Jake.
Bare minimum.
About Megan going up and Megan coming back. That was fun.
This is her sophomore year.
Yeah.
She's finishing her sophomore year?
She's finishing her sophomore year. Yeah.
Golly.
I know. Golly. And
She's in the middle of her sophomore year. Calm down, everybody. Calm down.
Well, she got a lot of credits. Like she had some APs and whatever. But I never know what. But I think you're right, Mike. But I think she's done with. Oh, this is not fun. She's done with her like GE stuff. So, anyways.
Hells yeah, nice.
But it was a lovely trip.
Mm-hmm.
Went up the coast up there. Went up the 5. Came down the 101. So we had quite
Rookie
a
mistake,
weekend.
bro. Rookie mistake.
No, on purpose. On purpose. You
No,
went up
I
in
know.
one day,
Like if you
came down in 2.
if you plan it, that's an amazing
Beautiful.
drive.
Yeah, so anyway,
it just takes another 3 hours.
I
Yeah,
talked
2,
a
3
little bit.
hours.
Well, we spent it in 2 days coming down because we wanted to.
Oh,
we
perfect.
drove through Pebble Beach. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever done that drive?
Oh yeah.
It's the second, third time I've done it.
What is it?
You have to pay $12 to get onto the road, but I'm telling you, it's like the best $12 you're ever gonna spend because the views are magnificent.
Yeah.
You can pull off the road and like go play in the water if you want, but it's just an unbelievable like drive. You know, and the way I'm telling you, the waves.
So are you saying California is awesome?
That's the thing that's exactly what I'm saying, Mike. It's like we just we do this trip often. But we haven't gone up the 101 and done the coastal cities. We usually make it up to like Santa Barbara or Los Olivos, maybe Paso, but we don't go all the way, up as much as we used to. But it's just there's
Nice.
so many nice things in California.
Yeah.
The government notwithstanding,
No.
that you should enjoy it while we're all here because it really is a wonderful place. And so I have a couple highlights from my trip. If you're in Berkeley, we found a wonderful new bar that's right there on the main drag. I want to say it's on Shattuck. Tupper and Reed. It's right there on Shattuck, right next to a Cajun restaurant or a New Orleans theme restaurant. But great cocktails there, nice atmosphere. Then when we got into San Luis Obispo, Pismo Beach area, there was a place called Mason's Bar and Grill or something. Oh, it was so good. We had like one of the best meals that we've had in months there. And I highly recommend it. It's a little bit south of Pismo Beach. And then passing through on the way home, we stopped in Santa Barbara, and one of my favorite cocktail bars in the entire country, I think, after, being on many trips in the last few months. And that is none other than, Bill, do you remember what it's called?
No, I don't.
The Good Lion in Santa Barbara. You've been there with me and Sarah before.
Yes,
I love that
have.
place. Little cocktail bar.
We had Turkish Delights, and then we went to the Good Lion.
That's right, yeah. So anyways, lovely trip. I always like doing it. And I'm actually going back up to Berkeley in a month for Megan's birthday, so we'll hit up some more places. But it was a nice weekend, guys, and hopefully you guys had a good weekend as well. So with that being said, we'll probably come back next week, I imagine. We'll see. If we do, then great. If we don't,
We got to talk about the basketball, Jake.
do we? All right. Yes. Fair enough. Okay, yeah, we'll come back. We'll talk about basketball. And then I'll keep trying to talk about football.
We might not like it.
I'll keep trying to talk about football, and you guys will still, give me the cricket treatment. It's okay. Where is it? This one. That's fine. But whatever. Until next time, Bill, what do we say?
Go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got it.
That was the What's Bruin show.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's gotta be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, Rob, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.
He's already leaving. He's already got his headphones out. He's out the door.
Wow, he's in his car down the
Oh
street.
my gosh, Bill, how'd you leave so fast?
That was quick.
Bill's calling us from home right now.
Bill, how'd you get home so
It
fast?
just